Good time zones, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for round number 3 of the Tube Frame Twister, the League Series, right here on the iCast Racing Network. This is Mike A. Taylor up in the booth. I hope everybody is doing a fabulous tonight. Before we get set with round number 3, let's go back to round number 2 and let's talk about the action there. You see Michael McCoy in that crush number 33 bring the field to the green with Ryan Redshell to his outside, but he gets an early lead as they head down into turn number 1. As those two sort out first and second, the 71 of Alex Kubelis, the 88 of Doug Cooley, and the 31 of Adolfo Castillo duel it out for P3 as they come through here for the first lap. However, Rochelle misses his turn, runs through the grass, gives up the lead to Michael McCoy, and unfortunately, Rochelle did have to come down pit road for a stop and go, and McCoy ends up pulling to a 22-second lead. It doesn't take long for a lot of action to start taking place, as you see the 610 of Daniel Maston, 501 of Aaron Blackburn, and the 77 of Mac Nelson look to go 3 wide into turn 1, and Nelson will take the position above all three. However, he does overshoot a corner, goes into the grass, and it allows Daniel Maston and a Blackburn to get back in front of him. The 26 of Shelby Martin goes for a spin in the backstretch chicane. And then Cubeless in the number 71 does the same thing, but he doesn't completely go around. And then the battle of the day was between Blackburn, Michelle Cook, and Daniel Maston as they put on an intense battle for the number 5 spot. And this was with just about 10 minutes remaining. And they were battling out like this for a majority of the 30-minute race. Keith Nelson Jr. goes to the outside in NASCAR turns 1 and 2 of Michael McCoy to overtake that lead spot. And just last, like 2 weeks ago, Nelson Jr. does not look back, and he ends up putting just about a good 18 seconds on Michael McCoy to secure win number 2 so far out of 2 rounds for the series. The Tube Frame Twister. Can anybody take him on today here at Laguna Seca? Let's get back to Laguna and find out what these competitors could possibly have in store. And we do have a few newcomers today, along with our normal racers. Let's take a look here at everybody that is here with us today. Here you see Ryan Rudshell in that number 8. Right out of Oakdale. Let's see here. Give me just one moment. I think my overlays may be having a small issue. But let's keep taking a look here at Ryan Rochelle in his black number 8. Ryan has been very, very strong so far everywhere that we go. So it will not surprise me if he remains on top of the leaderboard here in practice. And it looks like we are now switching over to qualifying. Let's see who goes out on track first. It looks like we have the number 12 we apologize about that. Alrighty. Here we have Casey Cotterman making his uh, TFT debut in that number 82 machine. Alex Kubelis in that number 71 machine is back. Adolfo Castillo in the number 31 Kodiak machine is here today. Michelle Cook in her number 66 machine. Doug Cooley in his Pro Forge number 88 is out here today. Ryan Rochelle again in his number 8 machine. Shelby Martin in that red, yellow and red uh, machine. Daniel Hersey in the Dirty Mode number 12. Billy Jordan is back here with us today in his number 14 uh, machine. Robert Chappell, I'm sorry, out of Williamstown, Kentucky. He is here with us today. Tim Reed in his iRacing number 72. We also have Jackson Sparks in his number 7 machine out here making his debut as well. We have Casey Flowers in the 11 with us today. Keith Nelson Jr. in his number 00 machine, looking to go back to back. And let's go ahead and catch up here with the number 66 of Michelle Cook as she is making her way onto the hill climb, heading up to the corkscrew section of this speedway. This series is based off of week number 13 tube frame twister that iRacing started just a few years ago. And league runner Doug Cooley decided that he wanted to race this once a week. So he threw together a schedule, booted it up just 3 short weeks ago, and our field just keeps getting bigger and bigger every single time. As you see Michelle Cook coming out of the final corner, heading back to the start finish line to put down her first lap time. And Rod Shell will come up on top of the leaderboard with a 1:36.65. It looks like a lot of these drivers are now coming around to end their times. As you see, Alex Kubelis making his run up towards the corkscrew. Let's ride on board as he comes up here to the corkscrew section as he does heavy braking and goes down this corkscrew section right here. And he has an incredible run coming here. And while these drivers are now finishing up their qualifying laps, let's go ahead and take a quick look at your race info here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Uh, this track is a 2.22 mile speedway. The track temperature is 134 degrees. It is in Salinas, California. It is such a beautiful track here, you guys. Don't let the desert look fool you. It's such a fun track to drive. And here's a few tips that we're bringing over from Charlotte: is plan your overtakes wisely. It is, again, these are street stock cars. These are not meant for road courses, but they are going to bring it on anyway. So we just really want to make sure. Yep. And we just want to make sure that everybody knows, don't trust your brakes completely. Brake early. A lot of over uh, or passing opportunities here at this racetrack. So plan your overtakes wisely. You don't want to get caught on the outside, especially going through that corkscrew section of this course. Keep your eyes up. A lot of elevation changes here at Laguna Seca. It goes from flat to downhill to uphill, back downhill. Always keep your eyes open. This track does have a lot of blind corners, especially coming up through the corkscrew section. So all these drivers will have to watch that section extra carefully here. So let's go ahead and show you.
Just a shout out to whoever's hosting. We just joined up.
My bad.
A couple of us from FTR came over from Aaron's invite.
My bad. We were not supposed to hear that. It looks like we do have a couple cars here on track. We have this number 69 of Jason Steinhurst. And as he's coming down through the chicane, looks like here for, yeah, his first lap. And into the final corner as he breaks it down, steps on it, and he is coming to the start finish line, and his lap time will not be counted as he got off track at some point. So that will end his attempt. So with that being said, out of your drivers that put in a qualifying attempt, you see Ryan Rodshell up at the top in his number 8 machine, which is absolutely no surprise as he has been very, very dominant throughout the first 2 races, but he just has not been able to hold off Keith Nelson Jr., but maybe that could change today. He has ran a 3-second a lap faster than Doug Cooley in his number 88 machine, followed by Daniel Harsey in his number 12 machine, followed by Michelle Cook, Jordan Sparks, Martin, Reed, Carterman, and Chappelle. That will round out your top 10. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at your starting lineup for this 30 minutes around Laguna Seca. As we said, Ryan Rochelle will be starting on pole for this event, followed by Douglas Cooley on his outside. Daniel Hersey in the number 12 with Michelle Cook in row number 2. Billy Jordan and Jackson Sparks will be in row number 3. Row number 4, you will see Shelby Martin and Tim Reed. And then you have Casey Otterman and Robert Chappelle in that number 15 machine in row number 5. Row number 6, your first 2 race winners is Keith Nelson Jr. starting in that number 11th spot with Alex Kubelis to his outside. And then row number 7, you have Clifton Cockrell and Jason Steinhardt. And then Adolfo Castillo and Casey Flowers round out your row 8 and your field. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a 30-minute race as these cars pull away for the first time. And we are really super excited to get this event underway. As you see Fred in our pace truck leading this field through turns 4 and 5. Again, you guys, I am very excited. A bunch of newcomers here today. I am looking for somebody to overtake Keith Nelson Jr. and see what kind of madness they can do with him. I expect that we're going to see a lot of action here today. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here they come, making their way through the corkscrew. And Fred will pull the pace truck off. And Ryan Rochelle will bring the field to the green flag. And we are green for round number 3 right here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, as the field charges down into turn number 1. Remember, this is a very heavy braking zone here, and we've got to keep things nice and tight as they pull out of turn number 1 and head to turns number 2 and 3. Despite it being, as we see one car go off track, that was Shelby Martin in that number 26 machine. And we do have a lot of action going on currently here in the back on lap number 1, with Ryan Rochelle in front of Doug Cooley still pulling away a lot. Here we go, and we now have Keith Nelson Jr. looking to start making his way back to the front as he looks to the left of Shelby. And Shelby, and as there he goes as he makes the move going up the hill, as we see the 31 go off track in the back. No harm, no foul for him as they hit the corkscrew for the very first time. And these drivers want to be one single file going through the corkscrew as Keith Nelson now makes his way to put pressure on Casey Cotterman in that number 82 G&X machine. And he makes his move on the inside of the final corner as we have drivers still going off track. Again, no harm, no foul. Let's take a look here at Michelle Cook in that number 66 machine. And it is starting to become a big mess right here, but here comes Keith Nelson Jr. still picking them off. Oh, and the 82-72 go around in the back, and that would be Casey Otterman and Tim Reed. And it looks like the 72 of Tim Reed has a lot of damage early on. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Oh, give me just one moment. Here we go. As you see here, the 82, he just gets turned by the 26, and the 72 had absolutely nowhere to go. And as both drivers go to pull away, they fall back to the end of the field. That is a very unfortunate situation for these drivers, but they are continuing to take, but they are continuing on as they meet up with the 31 of Adolfo Castillo back in the back as he went off early in this race. Looks like Shelby Martin is going around in turn number 1, but stops it just in time before they hit the wall in turn number 1. As Shelby will return to the track nice and safe. It looks like Adolfo Costello in that number 31 did have an issue. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened to him heading down into turn number 1. Oh, he just made very slight contact there. Oh, as he spins around. Casey Flowers also went around as well, heading towards turn number 6. And they just pulled it. It had nowhere to go. That 72 once again, absolutely nowhere to go. And let's take a look at our race leader. As he already is out to a 7-second lead. Make that just about 7.5 seconds. And let's come back here and take a look at Daniel Hersey as he is getting a lot of pressure from behind by that 00 of none other than Keith Nelson Jr. This is starting to be once again a very good race for Keith Nelson Jr. out of Findlay, Ohio, as he makes a move going down into the section to climb up the hill once again to our corkscrew. As you see our competitors running as hard as they can. Keith Nelson has worked his way all the way to number 3, and he is now chasing the 88 of Doug Cooley, and they are now just about 10 seconds behind the race leader of the number 8 of Ryan Rochelle. As you see that distance getting, and the 88 of Cooley gets completely sideways, which allows Nelson to get to his rear bumper, and he is now applying that pressure to Doug Cooley as they head down turns towards number 3. And he dirt tracks it out of that corner and gets a run on the right side. Is he going to be able to make that pass on the outside? He is not, so he gets right back behind that number 88 machine. And here they come into the kink to make their way up the hill towards Corkscrew. Let's see what kind of a run he gets, and he's now looking to the left side as they drag race up the hill. None of these drivers are giving it any holding as Douglas keeps out in front and keeps that number 00 behind him for now here on lap number 5. And he finally makes his way to second place around the number 88 of Doug Cooley. And now Nelson is 12 seconds behind race leader Rochelle. And let's see how long it will take him. There is approximately 21 minutes 30 seconds left in this race. So let's go ahead and leave him, and let's go meet up with Jason Steinhurst, battling hard currently with Robert Chappelle in the number 15. And they dive down into turn number 1. The 15 of Robert Chappell. I think it's Chapel. I apologize, Robert, but I believe it's Chapel. But he is putting a lot of pressure on Steinhurst at the moment for, looks like P number 5 at the, I'm sorry, P number 10. As they are working hard. There we go. I don't know why the ticker was not scrolling, but we are going to start scrolling now. All right, for the 9th spot, for the Steinhurst and Chapel in the 69 and 15 respectively, and they are trying to track down Clifton Cockrell for that P8 spot. We have a battle now brewing for that number 4 spot between Daniel Harsey and Alex Kubelis as they dive down into turn number 1 for the first time. Or not for the first time. Definitely not the first lap. For the 6th time, I should say. That 71 car gets up on that red curbing and slows his... Oh, we have a little bit of an issue here, it looks like, with Daniel Hersey and his connection to the race server. Unfortunately, this does happen from time to time. But as it stabilizes here, as they hit the kink and head up the hill over to Corkscrew, as you see Alex Kublis gets the run on his side, and they touch. That was a massive jump by Alex Kublis. Just giving you a heads up, Keith Nelson has brought down the gap down to just about 9 seconds between the race leader, and we had just about 21 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, and he is still closing in fast. As Alex Kublis here does start to pull away from Daniel Hersey and Michelle Cook. Let's take a look here at Billy Jordan in his number 14 machine. He's getting hunted down by Clifton Cockrell in the number 75 machine. And as you take a look at these cars making these corners, as he slides big time sideways, once again, you could just see these brake rotors glow with how much brake is needed to slow these machines down. And currently, we do not have too much of an issue, too much things going on at the present moment. But let's go back and take a look and see what happened to Robert Chappell, as he went off very, very briefly. Yeah, that's all that happened with him, as he went off the track. Oh, there he goes. He spun it out coming out of turn number 2, heading down to turn number 3. Right in front of the 82, and the 82 keeps it going forward. These drivers have to be careful with that. There is still a 10-second gap between your race leader and Keith Nelson Jr. The gap is ever so slightly nice and steady. Let's jump back here to Michelle Cook, as she is slowly bringing on the gap up to Daniel Hersey from 3 seconds. She's now just about 3.5 seconds behind him and slowly closing in. Michelle always ends up getting faster as these races go on, because the more you practice and then you start your race, you get into a comfortable rhythm. And she is one that definitely starts to move up through the standings near the end of the race, as she gets comfortable in her number 66 machine. Let's jump up here and take a look at Douglas Cooley out of Portland, Oregon as well, in his number 88 Pro Forged machine. There is still there's still just about a 10-second gap between Ryan Rochelle and his number 8 machine out of Oakdale and Keith Nelson Jr. It is now down to about 9.5, but it's been pretty steady here for the last couple of laps. Neither one has really gained or lost any time, so it's been hanging out between 9.5 to 10-second gap. Back to Michelle Cook, as she now brings that down that gap from 3.5 seconds all the way down to 1.5 seconds of Daniel Hersey in front. So it is not going to be much longer before she makes a move. As they hit the corkscrew once again. It looks like these drivers, for the most part, equal each other out. It looks like Clifton Cockrell got around Billy Jordan in that number 14 machine. And let's ride on board here with Billy Jordan, with him being a newcomer to TFT. As he overshoots turn 1 just a little bit, but keeps it still going straight. And he is trying really hard to get back to that rear bumper of Clifton Cockrell. As he shifts up through the gearbox and heavy braking, coming down to the kink to head up to that run to corkscrew. As you see Cockrell in front go into the grass or the sand just a little bit and comes back on track. And heavy braking to the corkscrew and nice and easy into the gas. And then I call this section the roller coaster because you go down and then up a little bit and then back down into the final 2 corners of this circuit. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is one of the tracks that you get free right here on the iRacing platform. And Michelle Cook has finally made her way to the back end of the number 12 of Daniel Hersey. Let's see how long it takes for her to get around him for that 6th spot. As he does slide just a little bit as they make their way to the kink to make that run up into the corkscrew. As she gets her left sides up on that red bump. And that is something that you really don't want to do because, as you can see, it really takes away that run that these drivers have. 10 minutes now remain in this event. Daniel Hersey does pull away to just about a second on Michelle as they dive down into the final corner. And Michelle gets a really good launch out of the corner here, closing that gap to just a couple car lengths now as they come down this long front straightaway and head back down the hill down to turn number 1 into that heavy braking zone. Can Michelle get any more run on him as Hersey does pull a couple car lengths ahead of her, and she reels him right back in, heading towards turn number 3 and 4. She is not allowing him to pull away whatsoever. As we are now, Nelson has brought that lead down to just about 8 seconds. In order for him to even get on his back bumper, he will need to gain at least 8 seconds a minute, or 1 second a minute, just to make sure he's on the back bumper of your race leader, Ryan Rochelle. Hersey just has a better run out of the corkscrew that time on Cook, as we just saw a pass for P number 8, I believe it is, between Billy Jordan and Clifton Cockrell. Now these two competitors are now duking it out as they head into the final 2 corners of this race course. As Cockrell gets back down to that rear bumper of Billy Jordan, and he's side by side, gets a little bit loose, and here comes the 69 of Jason Steinhurst trying to make his run onto the side, but he cannot complete the run, so they just fall back in line. As you see, they have 2 different lines as the 14 goes way wide, and that allows Cockrell to get to the side, but Cockrell does not give up so easily, and that just brings Jordan back behind him. And as Steinhurst makes his way to try to get around Billy Jordan now for that spot. It looks like Kubelis and Colley is having a good fight here now for that number 3 spot, as they switched positions back and forth just a couple times there that last lap. As Colley goes extremely wide, and that allows Kubelis to get to his inside as they drag race, but Colley just has much more speed out of the corner. And we are going to see if Kubelis can get back on the inside, which he does, heading down into turn number 4. As they now drag race down to turn number 6. As they continue to run side by side. Kubelis not wanting to give up that position. He falls back and tries to look back on the inside, and he cannot make it happen, as Cooley just has a lot of gas coming out of these corners, and his number 88 machine. But it looks like at the end of these straightaways, Alex Kubelis just gets that better run, including coming through the corners. It looks like his car is handling a lot better, but Colley just has that better run out of the corner as they come down here into the final corner for the with just under 5 minutes remaining. Nelson has brought down second place to 7 seconds. Time may run out here for Keith Nelson Jr., as he's having a hard time catching up to your lead runner, Ryan, as we stay here and focused on these 2 drivers. But we're going to come back here to Hersey and Michelle Cook for just a moment. These 2 drivers were side by side just a moment ago, as Hersey gets wide and Michelle gets a good run out of the corner that time. This seems to be the total opposite of Douglas Cooley and Alex Kubelis, as the 12 gets wide out of that corner, and that allows Michelle to get a stronger run out of the corner and closer to his back bumper as they head down into the kink with just 3.5 minutes remaining now in this event. And the 12 goes off track once again, but he gets a better run up the hill and down into the corkscrew. Heading back here to your race for third. Cubeless is trying everything to get around the 88, and now they drag race down the front straightaway, side by side as they cross the start finish line. It looks like Colley will be in third for this lap, but that will change as they dive down here into turn number 1. Cubeless gets in front of Colley, and Colley is not done as Cubeless gets sideways out of the corner. And they are still fighting hard for that number 3 spot. As you see what kind of a run Cubeless has on these straightaways. And heavy braking down into turn number 6, heading towards the kink. This has been an incredible run here for these drivers. And there has been some separation between Daniel Hersey and Michelle Cook. So we're going to stay right here on this battle for third as we're just under 2 minutes remaining of this race. One and a half minutes remaining as these drivers come heavy braking into the final corner once again. Let's jump back to your race leader of Ryan Rochelle in that black number 8 as he dives down into turn number 6 and makes his run down to, I'm sorry, that was up to turn number, yeah, there it is. That's the kink up towards the corkscrew with just under 1 minute remaining in this event. And here he comes as he dives down into the corkscrew once again. There is now just a 5.5-second difference between Ryan Rochelle and Keith Nelson Jr. But I am not sure if Keith Nelson Jr. is going to have what it takes to get a three-peat in this series as Ryan Rochelle dives down into the final corner and down this long straightaway. And we get the white flag this time. 2.2 miles remaining for Ryan Rochelle in the black number 8 machine as he actually gets a little squirrely there coming out of turn number 1. But that is still not enough for Nelson. Nelson will need Ryan Rochelle to make a really big mistake on this final lap in order for him to take over that win. But Ryan Rochelle has been extremely safe. He's been extremely dominant this whole race, making no mistakes, keeping that car on track this whole race. As time expires, and you see Ryan Rochelle from Oakdale coming into the kink for the final time, making that big transition to the top of the hill and into the corkscrew one final time. Just about 1 mile remaining now for Ryan Rochelle as he comes through what I like to call a roller coaster. into the final two corners, nice and smooth for Ryan Rochelle. His dominance finally will pay off right here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Ladies and gentlemen, round number 3 winner, Ryan Rochelle in the number 88 machine, followed by Keith Nelson Jr. And it looks like Alex Kubelis will remain in your third spot as they come out of the corkscrew for the final time and into the final two corners here. Alex Kubelis and Douglas Cawley will be third and fourth, respectively. And here we have Daniel Hersey and Michelle Cook coming out of the final corner. But Michelle Cook cannot get a run quick enough, as she does pull alongside with Daniel, but could not get the job done. And they will finish P5 and 6 respectively. We have here is 6, 7, and 8 of Jason Steinhurst, Clifton Cockrell, and Billy Jordan as they come out of the final corner for the final time. And then we have Casey Otterman. Casey Cotterman coming to the final corner one last time. And that will do it for our event today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go high above the speedway once again. And let's take a look at your final result standings for today. There is your final results, ladies and gentlemen, for round number 3 of the Tube Frame Twister the League Series. Right here from WeatherTech Laguna Seca, Ryan Rochelle finally pulls off the win. And Keith Nelson Jr. Why? It does this. But anyway, Ryan Rochelle finally gets his victory here in Two Frame Twister, followed by Keith Nelson Jr., who sadly was not able to come from the rear and get that precious three-peat win. But that is still a really good start to his season. Alex Kubelis with another awesome performance coming in third. Douglas Cooley up front once again in P number 4. And Daniel Hersey was able to hold off the hard-charging Michelle Cook for that number 5 spot. Michelle Cook in 6th. Jason Steinhurst in 7th. Clifton Cockrell, Billy Jordan, Casey Cotterman will round out your top 10. Followed by Tim Reed, Robert Chappell, Adolfo Castillo, and Shelby Martin, Casey Flowers, Jackson Sparks will round out your field right here from Laguna Seca. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us right here on the iCast Racing Network. And next week, we will head to Alton Park. Please make sure you guys come back, take a look, see us next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the iCast Racing Network. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a beautiful day. Good night.